So often I hear from you guys that you have tried to declutter in the past, but it just didn't work for you. Or maybe you started decluttering and never finished. Or you would start to declutter in one area and get distracted with another. And what ended up happening is neither area got decluttered. So in this video today, I'm going to talk to you about 6 different reasons why decluttering may not have worked for you. And my goal by the end is that you will have some ideas for how you can declutter more effectively next time. If you're new to my channel, I'm Kassy, and I make videos all about how to streamline your home so you can add at least 7 hours back to your week. Now, if you're thinking that sounds amazing, I would love that. Hit subscribe down below, ring the bell next to it, and I will do my best to get you those 7 extra hours. Okay, let's go ahead and dive in. So the first reason that decluttering probably didn't work for you is you didn't set a deadline. Any task that you don't set a deadline for can stretch on and on and on and go on pretty much forever if it does not have a deadline. There is actually a principle called Parkinson's principle that states that tasks will grow and expand to fill up the time that is allotted to them. So if you give yourself a short deadline, you are much more likely to get it done quickly. If you give yourself a long deadline, it is much more likely that you will not ever get it done because you will stall out, you will get distracted, and you will run out of steam before you hit your goal. Or you will just keep decluttering forever and never actually complete the project. So it's very important when you decide to declutter next to set a deadline. The second reason that decluttering may not have worked for you is you didn't have a plan. If you don't go into decluttering with a specific plan, it's going to get very overwhelming very quickly. You are going to get distracted unless you just have razor sharp focus, which I know some people do, and some people can probably do it without going into it with a plan. For most people, if you don't have a plan, you're going to get very overwhelmed. Decluttering is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's something that's going to take a lot of work and dedication, and it's going to take longer than a day. It's also going to take longer than a week. But it shouldn't take you so long that it just keeps going on forever. I recommend somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks setting that deadline. But in order to make it happen in that amount of time, you do need to have a plan. If you start in one area and then as you're decluttering that, you go to put things in a different area and then you realize, ooh, I really need to declutter this area. And you start to declutter that area and then you go to put things away somewhere else and you go, ooh, I really need to declutter this area. You're not going to get it done. So you need to have a plan that you will stick with so that you will finish your task. There are, in my mind, 2 basic methods for decluttering your home. Either will work as long as you know what you are doing going into it. One I call the slow and steady approach, and the other I call the express train approach. And neither is wrong. You can declutter either way, but they require different plans to get it done. So you need to know going into it what your approach is going to be, and then write out a very detailed plan detailing all of the steps that you're going to take, depending on which route you choose. It doesn't matter which one, but which steps you're going to take if you take the express train route, or which steps you're going to take if you take the slow and steady route. And that will help you stay on track and get the project done. The third reason that decluttering may not have worked for you is you didn't actually set a start date. It is really easy when you are excited about something new to get into learning mode about that thing. With decluttering, it might be, I need to learn everything I can on the KonMari method. And then one day you're on the internet researching KonMari and you stumble across a blog that does room by room decluttering. And you thought, I never thought of that. Maybe I should learn about this. And so you start learning about the room by room. And then one day you stumble across another blog that has something on category by category decluttering. And you thought, I kind of like the sound of that. Maybe I should learn about this. And you could easily stay in that learning mode forever and never actually take action. So you want to set a start date that's not so close that you have 0 time to prepare, but you also don't want it to be so far out that you lose focus and you lose your motivation by the time you get there. I recommend anywhere between 1 week out and 4 weeks out. anywhere in there should be enough time for you to do the learning that you need to and then put it into action. The fourth reason that decluttering may not have worked for you is you didn't choose the best method for you. Just told you there's lots of methods and you can spend a lot of time researching and figuring out which method you should choose. But if you don't choose a method that aligns well with you, with your family, and with your home and the current amount of clutter that you have, it could easily stall out your project. So in my mind, there are 4 basic decluttering methods. One is the KonMari method, the most famous one. The second is room by room. The third is category by category. And then the fourth, I call the slow and steady method. This one is kind of a hybrid of the other methods, but it will work if you can only dedicate 15 minutes a day, whereas the other methods you kind of have to go all in for. So deciding which method really can make a difference for how your whole decluttering journey is going to be. And different ones suit different people differently. I have my favorite. My favorite is the room by room method. I find it to just be most efficient while also tearing my house apart the least while I declutter. So I like that one. But some people swear by the KonMari method and think it works really well for them. At some point, I do kind of want to do a video comparing the different methods. But for now, just know that if you tried one method before and it didn't work for you, try a different one and see if that suits your personality and your situation a little bit better. The fifth reason that decluttering may not have worked for you in the past is you didn't find your enough. Now, this one is a little more ambiguous because everyone's enough is at a different point. But essentially, you want to keep decluttering until you reach kind of that base layer for you, that base. What would be a good way of explaining this? What is enough for you? And really only you can decide that, which is one of the things that makes decluttering tricky, especially if you have multiple people living in your house. But a lot of people stop decluttering before they get to this point, which means their house seems cleaner for a little while, but it never stays clean the same way a house that is truly decluttered can. So I know for me, my enough is a lot less than other people's. I have lots of people comment on my videos about how sad it is that my kids don't have more toys, which is kind of funny because they really have no idea how many toys they have. But we do prefer to spend our money on things like a trampoline that we have because we want the kids to play outside and have something that they can have an activity around it, or spend our money on things like skiing and activities like that. So we do have less toys than a lot of people are comfortable with. That doesn't mean that you have to have less toys than you're comfortable with. You need to have the amount of things in your home that make it functional and make you really happy to live there. So I know this one is tricky because it would be nice if people could just tell you, have 47 of this, have 13 of this, have 7 of this, because then you could go through and check, right? But for some people, they probably wouldn't think I was a minimalist. If they came into my house, they would think it is not clean enough at all here. And for a lot of people, they come into my house and they go, oh man, you need more of this or that or whatever. But the only thing that matters is that your house is in the perfect state of being decluttered and at your enough for your family. I am going to do a video at some point. I'm not exactly sure when, but it is on my list to do a video on how to find your enough and how to know when you have reached that point with decluttering. So be sure to subscribe if that's something you would be interested in. And if that video is one you'd like me to bump up in the list of videos that I should make and do that one sooner, let me know in the comments and I will try to get to that one soon. The sixth reason that decluttering never worked for you is you never completed the project. If you started decluttering and you were all gung-ho about it for a little while and then you lost steam, then you got distracted, then obviously decluttering would not have worked for you. It does take some grit, some determination, and just kind of and I'm not going to let this thing beat me attitude to get through to the other side of decluttering. When you're in the middle of it, especially if you are in a very cluttered house, it can feel like you are just, your stuff is overwhelming you. And it would have been better if you had never messed with it, because it often feels like it gets worse before it gets better when you're in the middle of decluttering. But I can tell you from my experience, as well as the experience of a lot of friends and family members that I have helped to declutter and helped get through to the other side of this, that it is so worth it. And like I said in the last video, decluttering is the #1 thing you can do to make your house easier to clean. It will make you feel so much less stressed. It will make you feel a sense of calm and peace in your house. And when you're less stressed, you're much more likely to play with your kids, get down on the floor and actually use your house and enjoy your house. And your kids will enjoy the toys that they have so much more when they're decluttered. It's a really weird phenomenon. When kids have less toys, they actually more fully enjoy the ones that they have. And it's not just me that says that. It's actually something that has been studied. And if you're interested in reading more about how clutter affects kids and how it is so wonderful once you get them out of a cluttered environment, I recommend the book Simplicity Parenting. It's one of my favorite parenting books, and it will just give you that extra bit of push to make it to the end of this decluttering project, because once it is complete, I promise you will just feel so much lighter and happier in your house. What do you guys think? Are there any other reasons that your decluttering project did not work? If so, I would love to hear those in the comments. And also let me know if there are other ideas for how to kind of push through and finish a decluttering project once you have started it, because I think that would be really helpful to have some of those conversations and to give other moms ideas for how to keep going even when the decluttering gets tough. Now, if you are ready to get serious about streamlining your home so you can get those extra hours in your week, I am hosting a free live workshop next week. I believe it will be Monday, and I would love for you to join me. The workshop will be about 4 steps to adding 7 hours to your week. So I hope you join me and you can learn some of these steps and apply them to streamlining your own home. All right, that's all I have for this video. I will see you on the next one.